Yo, 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 what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 507. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Sup, people? How's it going?
Carlos Romero.
Yo, yo, yo.
Brett Murdoch.
What up, people?
Richard Bailey Jr.
What's up, everybody?
And Brian Manjoma.
What's up? What's up?
All right, we're back with another one. No Chris action. He is tired, needs to initiate the Odin sleep. But yeah, the show must go on. Not a lot happened this week. I'll be honest, if it wasn't for this Xbox thing, which itself wasn't all that, this would have been like a completely boring week. But it's all good. There's still a lot of good little things here and there to talk about. And in case you were asking, yes, we do have more Ubisoft L's because they don't stop. They don't stop, bruh. All right, let's kick it off with the thing that happened today. This was probably the highlight of Richard Bailey Jr.'s entire week, the Xbox partner preview. Yeah, this was a third-party event, and as we usually do, God damn it. All right, Otaku Man, I owe you, bro. I'm supposed to have him on this week. I'll have you on next week for real.
Are you sure we could just roll him in?
Yeah, we could, but I got to get up early tomorrow, so I want to kind of keep this precise. Right. You know, remember what I was telling you off air? Busy right now.
Yes.
But yeah, so Andre, I'll have you on next week. I promise. He goes, you've been busy, bro. I know about that life. Man. But I'm glad you're here, regardless. Assyrian Air Force is going on, brother. Barry Burton. I may see you at Comic-Con. We could talk later if you're gonna go this year. I know you always say you're not. Even though I didn't register in time, I have my ways, and you might be involved. We'll see. Anyway, let's get into it, man. Xbox partner preview, and as we usually do, we're gonna run through the games. So I'm getting this off of IGN. So if they have it in a weird order or are missing shit, blame them, not me. Because I didn't get to see this. I was busy today. I was at work. Matter of fact, I only saw this pop up on my feed after the fact. I was like, oh shit, there was an Xbox thing today? Even my partners
it was like
didn't know
nine. It was like
it.
9 and it was like in the morning or like at 12 o'clock or something
wonder.
like that. Yeah.
All right, man. So I'm gonna go down the line. I'm gonna click on these trailers and look at them while we talk. First up here, even though this probably has nothing to do with it, obviously, I'm calling this Microsoft's answer to Wukong, Wu Chang, Fallen Feathers, coming 2025.
It's not exclusive though, is it?
No, I don't think so. Because this was a third-party thing, Yeah. And 505 Games, that is definitely not fucking exclusive.
No, it's coming to everything except for the Nintendo Switch.
Of course, yeah. But Rich, what do you think of Wu Chang?
Well, shout out to our boy Weapon X because he is the one that was saying that this was a horrible showcase, and I said, well, all due respect, sir, this game looks great, so I'm looking forward to it. Obviously. I know if you're a fan of a lot of other games that have been out, I haven't played Wukong yet. I know that's Carlos's game. Every time you talk about that game, you think about this game because it's a very similar name. But no, I like what I saw, and I'm looking forward to learning some more next year. But they said 2025, so that means it could be at any point in 2025. Definitely not, no confirmed release date, but that's just the release window. So we'll see.
I'm looking at the trailer now, and I was hoping that my joke about it being like Wukong was just like me being blatantly ignorant. I'm looking at it like, oh shit, I was right. This is basically it looks like Wukong with a girl, basically.
I think it's starting to fall into that trap of like similar types. Of games. There's quite a bit of games where it's like they have those thin swordsman type games. I would like to see granted, the Chinese Chinese developers are just sort of just getting into these things and sort of adapting their legends, and because they have all these crazy stories about people there. But I feel like before they start to, corner themselves into like a stereotype of the type of game they get, they really need to. I would like to see them do something.
Yeah, this is Wukong as fuck, man. It really is.
Is it more Wukong or Wulong?
That's a good question.
I would say more. I would say more Wulong than Wukong. Yeah.
Okay. You think so?
Yeah, I would say more Wulong.
Yeah.
Honestly, I like Wulong more than I haven't played Wukong, but like the premise of Wulong, I think seems to strike me better than Wukong, because Wukong seems mostly boss rush mode.
Yeah, it kind of is. This looks like it's boss rush mode too, to be honest. I don't know, man. This looks more Wukong-ish to me than Wulong-ish. By the way, I like what Blitz said. He goes, "Year of the Wu." Wu-Tang Clan, where you at?
Oh no, they're gonna make Wu-Tang Battle of 36 Chambers. That's the next Souls-like that's coming.
Yeah, this
looks. Are we gonna start to have Wu games?
Yeah, Wu games. There you go.
Yo, man, Wu-Ware the game?
Wu-Ware. Remember Wu-Ware?
Oh, yeah.
Manny and I had this really dumb friend that was all into that stuff. Wu-Ware.
Yeah. He went all the way to Staten Island to fucking Wu-Ware. I'm like, dude, that shit's garbage.
Yeah, Wu-Ware.
Then the chat goes, "No, man, Wu-Ware is fire."
Yeah. Manny, damn, you're penciling hard tonight, boy.
No, sorry.
You can hear that shit. It's all good. Killer Bees. Let's go, man. This is going to be the Wu-Tang Clan show right now.
Yep.
Killer Bees on attack, All right, so move on. Be nice. Syrian Air Force says, "Be nice. Time to revive Ninja Blade, Onimusha, and Tenchu." Yeah, man. I mean, listen, let the Chinese guys have their time in the sun, bro. Japanese have had it for a while. But Manny, I share your sentiment. You don't want like Chinese developers to be pigeonholed like, oh, they make these Souls-like type of games.
Yeah.
You don't want that. But like Wukong, this looks fucking nice, man. Very nice.
Unreal Engine 3.
Yeah.
I mean 5. Sorry.
Yeah, not 3. We're beyond that. All right. Moving on here. What the fuck is this? A Control multiplayer. Alongside the Alan Wake 2 DLC trailer, we also got our first real look at the multiplayer Control game from Remedy Entertainment, titled FBC Firebreak. The new game is a 3-player co-op game that takes place in the same universe as both Control and Alan Wake. The game is coming to Xbox Series X, S, PC, and Game Pass sometime in 2025. Let me look at this shit. Am I 17 or older? I'm gonna click yes. So let's initiate this video. Anyway, does anybody have any thoughts on this shit?
I'm just confused as to why.
Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm just confused as to why.
Oh,
it just seemed like an odd choice to have. I mean, it's Control, the noteworthy multiplayer game.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense that they'd have a co-op thing in there. It's like, okay. Again, it could be good. I have no idea. It just didn't look all that exciting. Like, the second that I seen that they were shooting just normal guns, I was like, what are we doing here? Like, the one part of Control that people weren't really fond of was the shooting. There was everything else was really good, and
all the
really
powers
liked
that she has. Yeah.
But the shooting was the thing that everyone was just kind of like, it's kind of just there. So it feels like they just kind of made it a game with lots of shooting involved, and it's like, why? Like, you take the fun out of Control. What are you doing?
Well, it seems like they're shoehorning Control into this genre. Left 4 Dead type of genre. I don't know if it has a proper name, but that's what I call it. The Left 4 Dead genre. I mean, that's what this looks like. What do you think, Rich?
So I would like to give a shout out to Remedy for renaming this game, because initially it was named Condor, which sounds similar to Concord.
Oh yeah, we can't be having that.
Yeah, so it was a good decision to change the name, and
what's a Concord?
That's a good question. But no, I know they were working on a multiplayer game. This explains to me why they were able to do this, because it's pretty much taking place in the same timeline. So they're probably using the same assets for Control and Alan Wake to put in this game. Because I was trying to figure out how do they have time to work on this when they're working on Control too.
Something they could just quickly shit out,
Yeah, I mean, if it uses some of the environments from the games, they can possibly put things. If you're using assets that you've already have, then you have a couple of you can. I'm guessing you could possibly randomize your characters. Make your own guys. But yeah, but when you break it down, like for a game like Control, all the FBC characters, all they really use is just guns.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, moving on here. Next, speaking about Alan Wake, here's the Alan Wake 2 DLC. Does anyone care at this point?
I mean, I think the Alan Wake people sort of interested in it. There was, they've said from the beginning there was going to be 3 to 4 DLCs, so this is a plot DLC. This one doesn't seem to have actual Alan Wake in it either. You seem to be playing more. You seem to be playing one of the other characters in the game. So it's not Alan Wake. It's another one of those FBC agents, like what's her face from Jesse Faden, except she's just the normal chick that goes to this one area that's inside of the, the foundry or whatever inside of in the game. So something that happened in Alan Wake 2 is affecting other parts of the game. So now you're playing this lady.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I don't really have any thoughts on it.
Which I'm sure she'll probably play exactly like the girl from Alan Wake 2. It looks like they're doing the same old stuff, shining light on things and then blowing them up stuff.
Yeah.
It seems to be that they learned a lot from what the the people that did Spider-Man.
Insomniac?
Yeah, they learned a lot from Insomniac in that they have the name of the character on the box, but then you don't get to play as them.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's the last DLC you didn't play Alan Wake either. You played dude from what was that game? Quantum Break. You play him. So
what did they have against Alan Wake, man? Why can't he be in his own game?
I don't know. He is in his own game. He's just like talking on the side, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be weird, It's like the guy's name's on the box, like it's his game. It's his game too,
It's everybody but Alan Wake. But I feel like they can get away with it with the DLCs. So, in the DLCs, I think you can get away with having other characters in it. I think that's fine as long as the main game has them in it, right? He's in the DLCs for previous DLCs.
All right. Alan Wake. All right, man, here's your favorite game. Chronos: The New Dawn. What is all this?
I just thought it looked cool. One thing I said this while we're off there. I'm really impressed that Bloober Team has another game had another game in the works. So as opposed to not only having having Silent Hill 2, but they have this game coming the following year. Yeah, by the way, it's coming out next year at some point. But I mean, that's kind of cool. But it looks interesting. It sort of looks like Dead Space a little bit. They seem to be still in the horror zone. I remember they were like, "Nah, we don't want to make no more horror games."
They said that?
Like another horror game.
Yeah, it looks like.
Yeah, I remember that before. Yeah, we want to move away from making horror games. This kind of looks like a horror game to me.
Yeah. What about the rest of you guys? What do you think of this?
I think it looks cool, but I'm certain that they mentioned before they announced that they were on Silent Hill 2 that they're working on 2 games at the same time, like a good year or 2 back. Yeah. So I think we just didn't know what it was, so now we actually know what it is, and I'm kind of on the fence here because Bloober Team have kind of a track record of making just okay games. So that's okay. Come on, that's hardly controversial. I mean,
No, you're 100%
like,
right. I agree.
Yeah.
what standout game have they made? I'm not counting Silent Hill remake since it's a remake. You know, it's not their game; it's someone else's game, so it doesn't count. You know, so the rest have just been just okay, not great, not bad, just okay. So I seen this, and again, I'm with Manny. It does look really nice. I'm really interested to see more. I also was getting a very much Dead Space vibes, like a Dead Planet, I guess you want to call that. And yeah, it looks interesting. Let's see how it goes. But I'm not holding hopes for this to be anything than just okay. So yeah.
Yeah. Any other thoughts you guys have on this?
We'll see what it looks like. Okay.
Go ahead, Rick.
Oh no, I just was gonna say, yeah, I do think it looks good, and like Brian said, we'll see. But I do have one critique for Xbox, because I was talking about this with some other coalition OGs. I think that they should have opened the show with this game. They showed the Alan Wake content before this, and I thought to myself, this looks more interesting than the Alan Wake DLC, so I think they should have opened the show with this announcement. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, based on what we've discussed so far, and looking at this, I agree with that assessment. They probably should have started with this, like, oh, what is this, you know? Like what the fuck did I already forgot what the first game was that we talked about. Oh, Wu Chang. I mean, that was cool too, but yeah, I agree. This would have been a little bit more striking. All right, moving on here. The Yakuza Pirate game. That got another trailer. Wild shit, man. Crazy stuff. Again, I find it funny that apparently this game leaked a year ago, but nobody believed it was real because it was just too zany. And it turned out it was real. You know?
That's just ridiculous. That shit's crazy, man.
Yeah, what do you think of it, Brett?
I did not. I mean, I don't remember the leak, but like, it caught me off guard. I was like, okay. I mean, I'm there for it, but didn't expect that shit.
Yeah. No, don't worry that you didn't know about the leak. None of us did either. We're like I found out about it. Again, it went unreported because everybody thought, that's just bullshit. They're not making a Yakuza pirate game. People are making stuff up.
Right? Yeah. I don't know what it felt like.
Yeah, it's like, guys, the leak didn't happen on April 1st, by the way. But yeah, it was just too zany, but it happened. But yeah, you know, we'll see. Kind of cool. It's fun that Yakuza does stuff like this. Remember they had that like samurai game, you know? But yeah, no, give them respect. All right, another one. Animal Well. What the fuck is this shit? The game already came out?
I think that was out on PC, and now it's coming to Xbox or something like that.
I'm looking at it. Looks like one of those like pixel indie games that I thought we didn't have to deal with anymore. But there you go. I could be off base, by the way, but I don't know. I'm looking at the trailer. I don't know what's happening, and I'm guessing none of you do either.
Don't worry, I had the same thoughts. I was looking at it and just thinking, okay, so what's the USP here? And I didn't get it, so I just ignored it and moved on.
Because I'm looking at like 3 different types of games. It looks like a platformer, then some puzzles, some other stuff. I don't know what to make of this.
Something to do with shadows, but I couldn't quite understand how that part worked.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know what's happening here.
The guy's just yammering on about shadows and jumping into shadows and the shadows. I'm like, well, you're already wearing out your welcome, bud.
Yeah, I don't understand what's happening here. A Syrian Air Force goes, it looked better than a Ubisoft pirate game. About
not wrong.
Yeah. Yes, the puzzle game. It looks better. All right, another one here. Blind Fire early access available today. Blind Fire is a new team shooter game that showcases colorful hooded figures and neon lights. Early access to this game officially starts today for Xbox Series XS and PC. All right, so there's a couple of exclusives here, it looks like. There's quite a few shooters here, which I guess makes sense, Xbox, you know.
The shooter box, yeah.
The shooter box, of course, yeah.
Did every single one of those games have exclusive Xboxes to go with them?
Good point. I mean, I'm looking at the trailer. That looks pretty generic, to be honest. I mean, the neon shit is kind of cool, but I don't know. It's like,
it's the whole crux of that game is it's like fighting in the dark.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, it looks nice, but I not anything I would play for sure. Is anybody else interested in this?
Nope.
There you go.
It looks nice. It looks interesting, as in the visuals, but the game itself, I just don't care. It's like, okay, it's based on darkness and whatnot, so it's as interesting what they're trying to do. I just don't care for it. I think that's like the best way of saying it. And I'm just trying to see what gameplay is like, and it's just not that interesting.
I'm gonna have to agree with that too. All right, now this one is interesting though, Brian. It's another shooter, but it's like a cartoon shooter. Like, this looks kind of fun. It's like whatchamacallit? Oh my god, why am I blanking on the Cuphead FPS? You know. That's
It's
cool.
like those old. Well, yeah, it's not in color either.
No, it's not Steamboat Willie
like,
the shooter.
It's like old timey animation. I've seen this game.
Yeah, we've seen this before.
We've seen it before, but I also seen like early because I think I follow the creator of it.
Yeah,
and I've seen this game for a while now, just like little glimpses of what they were doing. But they animated all kinds of goofy stuff. Literally, if you took the idea of Doom and animated everything like it was like those squishy old animated movies from like the 20s.
Some of this stuff looks pretty brutal too. Like I saw guts and shit. Like heads been blown off. Crazy. So it's interesting.
But it's like, cartoons.
Yeah. So it's like the environments are 3D, but the characters are like 2D.
Yeah, they're sort of like that, like how in animation the backgrounds are usually sort of painted looking, and then the characters are those, just like flat 2D things that are sitting on top of it. So that's what they're doing. So they're making the environment look like painted backgrounds on those things, and then the characters are those kind of like flat animated characters. One thing though, I wish they did in this, and this is just Tony, this. Watching a lot of cartoons, like when in a cartoon, you can see the thing that the character is going to interact with.
Yeah, because it's drawn.
It's also, because it's drawn.
Yeah.
So it's like that would be cool if like the switches and things that you could interact were actually made of just like 2D things that you could interact with. So you knew, okay, hey, that's just the thing I can move. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Or like remember like the early Resident Evil games, like, oh, I could interact with that because it's polygons. It's not just part of the background, Yeah,
exactly. So you can actually see the separation of this thing. It actually looks like something that you would interact with in an old cartoon, but that would be fun if it did that.
Yeah. Syrian Air Force is asking a very interesting question. This is a video game podcast, not a movie podcast. And it's also not the question show. For you guys who are curious, he's asking me what I think of some movie called Terrifier 3. I didn't know there was a Terrifier 1 or 2,
he's not, don't.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know why he's asking me about that. Yeah, I don't know what.
It's this cartoon. It's this evil clown movie.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, certain numbers. I don't know why you're asking me about that. I'm like, this is not Throwdown Questions, and it's not an AMA special. But I still appreciate the question, even though it's
the evil clown movie that beat the other evil clown movie.
For some reason we're gonna go down a rabbit hole. I'll stop it now before we go down there.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on here. The Legend of Babu. Manny, I'm gonna claim this as your favorite game of the show because it has a big like dog thing in it. It looks nice. I'll give it that. It does look nice. I'm looking at the trailer now. This is my first time seeing it. Obviously, are we gonna see gameplay in this shit? Anyway, Rich, you have any thoughts on this Babu game?
That is one that I didn't really see much of because I watched the show, but then there was at certain parts of the show I wasn't paying attention. So
I can't.
This is one of those that I wasn't paying attention on.
Yeah, the more I look at this trailer, the more I'm like, I don't know about this.
I wasn't paying much attention to this part either.
This looks like
is it bamboo?
No, Babu.
I can't even find this stupid game.
Yeah, Legend of Babu. It's in the link, man, in the show notes. Just click on it and scroll down. But yeah, it looks like a boy and his dog, and they're going on adventure. It kind of looks like, what was the name of that was not Klonoa. There was like a girl game from 4 years ago. They got re-released. She has a stick too. It starts with a K as well.
Kina?
Yeah. It looks like Kina with a boy and a dog.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I glance at this thing. Yeah, I didn't really have much interest in it.
Yeah. Yeah, Kina Bridges Spirits, yeah.
I like the way Manny put it. I glanced at it.
It's
like, motherfucker, I just glanced at you.
Yeah, it looks like a giant food dog or something.
Yeah. What's up, Brian?
Manny actually did more than me. I just skipped the whole thing. I'm like, okay, skip. Just get to the end of it.
Well, I mean, I was trying to get some other things done. I'm like, okay, so it took 2 seconds of a look at it. I'm like, doesn't matter to me.
That's funny, man. All right, moving on. Next game here looks like some anime game. Eden's Zero. Yeah, what's up?
So fun thing about Eden Zero. Eden Zero is currently on Netflix. You can watch the series on Netflix. But the fun thing about, I don't know if this game
this is an anime game?
It's an anime manga game, yeah.
Okay.
So it's an actual show. But the funny thing about the main character in the game, the main character of that show and game, he's got cat's powers from Gravity Rush. He can control gravity.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's pretty much like
Manny. So wait, they borrowed that mechanic from it? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know if they borrowed it from it, but I know in the game and the anime and the manga, that's what his power is.
Oh,
he can fly. He can control gravity. Where in the gravity, his own gravity. Yeah,
with his freaking mind.
With his freaking mind.
The freaking mind. By the way, that game was on sale for $20. That's still not. That's still too much. Tumeke,
It's Tumeke.
Shout out to Tumeke too, by the way. Shout out to the homie. I know you're listening. All right, we don't need to say more about this game. Fucking anime.
Yeah,
game.
It's an anime game. Usually those things are a certain type of quality. They're like okay, it's just because for the fans of the anime. I think as I remember, the anime is also the manga is also done by a famous manga artist. I can't remember. He did another show that was well known. I can't remember what show he did.
It says Hiro Mashima, if that name means anything to anybody.
Hiro Mashima. As I remember, he did another really famous manga.
I don't know. I don't keep up with this stuff. I can look it up. Hiro Mashima. What did you do, bruh? What did you do?
What are you about?
Yeah, what are you about? Fairy Tale, Manny.
Yeah, there we go. That's the other one.
Yeah. Cool. All right, keep it going here. Eternal Strands, whatever this is. Let's look at the trailer. This may be another one that you guys probably zoned out on. Looks like I don't know how action game, I guess. What the fuck kind of game is this? Burning game?
It's coming to Game Pass, apparently.
Yeah.
Freeze. Okay, so you have elemental powers. He's fighting a big boss here. Game looks very colorful.
It's sort of like it feels like Avatar the game. The Last Airbender.
Yeah, I was about to say, let's make that decision what Avatar you're talking about. I'm like, yo, man, I don't see none of them motherfucking James Cameron monsters in here.
No man, I'm talking about.
What's up?
Yo, man, I'm talking about Aang. They don't got no arrows on their heads.
Hey, Brett, did you see this trailer?
No, I hadn't.
Okay, because there's a bunch of fire. I know you like fire in games.
I like being a fire wizard in games and shit. I like causing fire.
Yeah. I don't think you're a wizard in this game. This guy has an oversized sword, though.
I mean,
Brett, would you say you are a fire lord?
Yes, I would say that.
Yeah, I don't see any Na'vi in this shit.
To be honest, Brett, I actually think Brett might like this because one of the selling points is that you can set things on fire and set lots of things on fire, which is interesting. And also and also you can freeze lots of stuff. So one of the shots they had was the guy freezing the boss's leg so that the boss couldn't move. And another one, I would say that they climbed on a flying creature's back and then they froze the wings so that it couldn't fly and then it fell out of the sky. So
that's pretty cool.
I think cool. Brett's eyebrow just went up and said, "Okay."
Yeah, it's all right.
Like, oh, okay, what can I do in this game?
Well, it looks like it could be a fun Magic game, and we don't really have many Magic games these days where you play as actually good mages. So I am excited because again, I like some cool Magic systems.
Well, Brian, in a couple of weeks, we will have a Magic game. That from EA, BioWare. That might be interesting.
Highly anticipated by Richard Bailey Jr.
Mm-hmm.
No, there you're having some sort of fever dream.
Yeah, man.
Hold on,
what for that one?
Well, hold on. What was that comment that was made that Carlos made about me?
Yeah, no, he's saying that you're anticipating a certain game about dragons. That may.
Oh hell no! I don't know what he's talking about. Better not be that game.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
Some scandalous lies being thrown out here tonight. Anyway, there you go. Eternal Strands coming. All right, next up here we have Mistfall Hunter. Does he hunt Mistfalls? Like, what is this? Rich, what's up, man? What is this about?
I just will make a comment. I did see this game. I guess it looks interesting, but I want to say this. Very dangerous to release a game with that title because there's only one Hunter game that people are going to be talking about in 2025.
Yes.
And that's a lot of February.
Yeah.
So.
And you hope it's delayed. Oh, man. I'm okay. Watching the trailer, I'm like, are we going to see gameplay? I don't know if we are going to see gameplay here.
Yeah, there is some.
Okay, I have to.
By the way, for Mistfall, they literally called it. They legitimately called it a Soulsborne.
Oh, they just flat out said it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. There's the gameplay. I mean, it's more colorful than a Soulsborne, but yeah. Oh, there's blood hitting the screen.
But you hear the narration's like,
I don't hear nothing. I have it on mute because people are gonna, because remember I'm doing a podcast, so I can't be having all that. But yeah,
they have a narration in there that feels very sort of like Soulsy, Oh, the world has fallen into chaos.
Yeah, the world's always falling into chaos.
The world is chaos, and be reborn again.
And the characters look more cartoony,
Yeah, a little more cartoony.
Yeah. All right, so there you go. If you need another Soulsborne game, there you have it. I'm sorry, Riku, Souls-like. I know you don't like Soulsborne. You don't like that label. Here we go. Another one. Wheel World. Xbox unveiled a new bicycle racing game that will be coming to Game Pass. For some reason, it seems like an Atom game. Let me look at this shit. Some cartoon type of deal going on here.
Is it in New York?
No, Manny, what's the name of that bicycle game? Trials, was it called?
Trials? No, this is not Trials though.
No,
this looks like that. There was this skating game, a multiplayer game that came out that was a PlayStation exclusive a while ago. That this sort of is reminiscent of. I'm not sure if you remember what Richard.
You said it was a PlayStation game?
Yeah, it wasn't exclusive. Eventually it became but it was like an arena, like like a arena shooter with roller skates.
I know what you're talking
styling
about.
sort of feels like this.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
I can't think of the name, but I know what game you're talking about.
I know what you're talking. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I remember that. Yeah, I mean, this style looks cool, but I wouldn't play this.
Yeah, I'm not that interested in it. But Will World is not an exclusive. It's coming out for everything.
Yeah.
So if you want to go to the real world, you can play it on everything.
All right, another horror game. I guess because it's fucking October, but bunch of horror.
Yeah,
stuff.
It's horror.
It's coming out in
time,
October too. I guess what I was going to go completely off topic. Never mind. Let's keep it on topic here. All right, so I'm watching Phasmophobia. Looks like a first-person horror game.
So,
what's up, Rich?
This game, I believe, has already been on PC, and now it's coming to console. So it'll be on Xbox and PlayStation. I think the end of this month. So
yeah, that's what it says there. Yeah, October 29th to be. Yeah. Rollerball, is that the name of it, of that game?
I think that's what it might be named. Yeah.
All right. So thank you, Assyrian. All right, so there you go.
Sort of looks that way.
Yeah, Phasmophobia for you horror nuts. Subnautica 2. Now that's a horror game because you're underwater. Scared the fuck out of me.
As I remember this, that was also a game that's already been out too, isn't it?
I have no idea.
Brian, would you know if Subnautica? I could have sworn Subnautica 2 was out.
Oh, I don't know about 2. I knew there was a first one.
Yeah, there's the first one. I know about that one. All right. I mean, this looks cartoony. I don't know if the first one was cartoony too.
Yes, it does look cartoony. No, it's probably just maybe thinking of something else, or maybe the DLC.
Maybe
Below Zero. But yeah, looking on the Steam page, it says that this was the announcement.
Okay, this was the announcement. All right. There you go.
Yeah, here we go.
All right, so I guess if you like underwater games, there you go.
I know this isn't the right show to ask this, but I need to ask: is it just me, or does the main character or the main guy kind of look like Miles Morales?
I noticed that too. I actually had a comment about that, but I'll get in trouble, but I'll leave it alone.
I'm gonna say this. There is a point where I feel like everybody got inspired by the Killmonger's hair and like certain other things, and it sort of bled its way into every game almost.
Yeah.
Now it's now everybody has short dreads, which it's nice that they're representing different types of hair, but at the same time, let's come up with some new hairdos, because if we're just sticking to Miles's do and Miles's cuts and Killmonger cut,
Oh, by the way,
how many games? Yeah, how many games got that cut in it?
All of
Seriously,
them. Prince of Persia has it.
Most of the games that have come out in the last 3 to 2 years have all had it.
I got that joint on right now.
Yo man, Carlos, you rocking the Killmonger?
Yeah, man, we met him. By the way, Roller Drome, that's the name of the game.
Roller Drome. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right. So that looks like that was the last game here. Overall, I don't even know. It's not terrible. I don't think it was a terrible showcase like some people are saying, but I don't think it was. You know what, Brian? You know what I think this is? This presentation was like a Bloober team game. It was just okay.
Yep. It was okay. It didn't need to be anything special. It was just like, okay, what is coming to console next year? Fine. That's
agree.
about to happen. Nothing exciting. Not many release dates for stuff coming in 2025, just kind of open window. So, fine, I guess. But, yeah, all right. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see what gets delayed till the year after.
Yeah, right. Oh man, 2026. That's gonna be the banger year. We say that shit every single year. This is gonna be the banger year. Then everything gets delayed again. Oh, it's gonna be banger this year. Then everything gets delayed.
Mm-hmm.
It's hilarious, man. All right. So there's any other thoughts you guys have on this Xbox thing?
It happened.
Yeah,
It
I
happened.
can't. I'm not too hyped about it. There wasn't anything in particular that got my attention that much. I kind of just stared at it a little bit like Manny did for some of those games. The Wuhan, was that
Wu Chang.
the Wu game?
Let me see. Look. We're gonna fuck it up.
The Wu Chang.
Yeah, Wu Chang, not Wu Chong. Wu Chang.
Wu
Yeah,
Chang.
yo, being racist.
That game, yeah, you guys mentioned everything like about it. It's a Wukong exactly like Wukong.
Yeah, it's a Wu like.
Yeah, it's a Wu Souls game. It's just it's I don't know what it seems too blatant. Is it the same developers? It looks like there's certain details and art style and just the way it moves and feels. It looks exactly like Wukong, and I'm guessing this is a Chinese game, Chinese made game.
It looks like it. I mean, it could be wrong, but
With a certain screenshot, which I'm sure that will be put on the internet for a long time, I'm willing to say it is definitely a Chinese game.
Yeah,
there are certain things that are on display that aren't on display over here in the West. Let's say that.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, so it looks a lot like that game. So I kind of thought, what was it? The same developers? They just getting another one, but apparently it's not. But we'll see. I wasn't the biggest fan of Black Myth Wukong. I kind of felt like it was a little bit overrated.
Go ahead, Brett.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Like how? You know what? You're right. Yeah, because I played and reviewed Black Myth, and I kind of came back and was like, yeah, this game looks nice, but it's just lots of bosses,
It just the whole even the bosses were okay. The in between, and I understand that it's a what do you call it, a type of boss game, but the in between stuff was just so vapid and dead. It's there was no semblance of a game.
It does feel like a tech demo,
Yeah, and even something as simple as a fast travel, like they didn't even have a map. Like you can fast travel to a whole bunch of places, but you have no freaking clue where anything is. It's just names. So yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of Black Myth Wukong, and looking at this, hopefully they learn from the things that Wukong did wrong and improve on those.
Yeah. All right. What's up, Rich?
I just got one quick question for y'all. So, do you think that this game will come to Xbox before Black Myth Wukong comes to Xbox?
I think so. I think so. That's funny, man. All right. Other stories that happened this week. We got to talk about layoffs, people. We had 3 announcements. Layoffs, and I want to start with the most surprising one because I mean, correct me if we talked about this. I didn't realize Bandai Namco was in trouble.
They also, it's not really layoffs. It's actually something a lot more sinister than layoffs.
Yeah. But before we get to that, but apparently, Manny, they've been having some money problems, so they need to cut down. But they can't really lay people off. So what they're doing is, Manny, we've used this term before, giving a lot of people the window seat. The
window seat. Yeah, apparently they said they've had there's already written reports. So what they do, the window seat, for those of you who don't know, in Japanese culture, they cannot outwardly fire somebody. So what they do is they pressure you out into resigning. So what they'll do is they'll give you essentially the window seat, a room that really doesn't have much more to do, and you still have your salary. But I've actually found this out from somebody who actually works in the Japanese industry. So what they do is like, because you think, okay, so if they give you the window seat, so that means that you could sit pretty, right? You know, you're still making your same salary, and then you're good to go. Here's the catch. As an employee at a Japanese studio, you have what is called your base salary. So let's say, for the sake of conversation, base salary is minimum wage in the United States. So then how do you get people to attract people to these jobs? They have bonuses and, additional additional things that go on top of your check to get you to that point. So they essentially, once you've gotten the window seat, they chop all that stuff off, and you're making shit money.
Yeah.
And then you have nothing to do. And that's how they get rid of you. They pressure you. They pressure you into resigning.
What's up, Brett?
Doesn't that also, can't they use? And I might be mistaken, but I had heard they can, when they put you in these rooms, they can then use your lack of productivity as a ground to reduce your severance pay when they do eventually get you to leave. So basically, it's like you can stay, but we're going to be cutting your severance if you stay, so you may as well leave.
If you resign, there is usually not a severance package attached to that, isn't it? Isn't it?
I know. I think they're saying, like, if they're like, if you're like, I'm just going to wait them out and make them fire me, they're going to kind of reduce your severance before they fire you. So,
well, in general, they reduce all of your pay. So yeah, I don't even think they even get a severance package after that. Usually, if you resign from a job, it's you leaving. You don't get a severance package unless there is some sort of rhetoric that says that.
Yeah, but that way, if they do fire you,
severance usually comes if your position has been eliminated.
No,
or,
I know that, but like what I'm saying is, like, they can use your showing of not lack of productivity to as a basis to not give you severance or give you less severance if they do have to fire you.
Yeah, I don't know what that part of it, but as far as I know, there isn't really any sort of severance attached to anything there. But anyway, because it's illegal for anybody to get fired. So yeah, so it's just they just pressure you out of it. So yeah, it sucks what they're doing. I think, again, like I said, there's like over 100 something people that have already resigned from there. In the case, and we've heard this before with Konami, what they used to do is, because they don't fire anybody, what they would do is they move them to a different portion of Konami. So you would have them, let's say they would be, let's say you were a game developer and they essentially, like, let's say, Kojima Productions, and they had no use for any of those people, but they can't essentially fire them. What they would do is essentially give them jobs in other portions of the company. So you could end up working at one of the Konami factories, or working at one of the Konami hotels, or one of the because they also own sports clubs as well. So that's crazy. My biggest guess on with Bandai Namco is, having all those licenses, making licensed games, those can be expensive. If you notice, like, a lot of those licensed games that they do aren't like amazing games, with the exception of maybe some of the Dragon Ball Z games.
Yeah, the latest one has sold like 3 million copies already.
Yeah, my guess is that game has not had a lot of didn't have a lot of overhead when it came to developing it. I think it's a medium, what do they call it? A medium budget or middle A budget type of game. But if you also looked at the other sort of news, and this is not game related, they also, I don't think they're exactly in trouble, but I think they are investing in other locations. Namco Bandai actually essentially bought G Kids, which is an anime distribution company here in the United States, and they also picked up a bunch of smaller animation studios. One of the more notable ones is the company that did Devilman Crybaby, Crybaby, and they're also doing Dan 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 right now. So, from what I've read, the Toho and Namco Bandai are investing more in creating new IP anime to essentially, have more studios. So yeah, more animation studios. So they might have just chopped maybe game development is so expensive that they're just like, you know what, let's try to get more things that we can develop internally and try to develop games from those instead of having to do licenses all over the place.
Yeah, they also canceled a bunch of games too.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And my guess is they're probably a bunch of licensed games too. I think I did see another Dragon Ball Z game on there, right? Was pulled, and there was another one, some other well-known franchise. I think because it's just getting so expensive to do those sorts of games, I think they just said, like, you know what, let's just start developing our own stuff and, making those into games and things like that.
Yeah.
Cheaper.
Interesting stuff. So, okay, so there's Bandai Namco. Next up, Riot Games. They're about to lay off some people. Riot Games, they make League of Legends. 32 employees were let go. Originally, it was 27. That was reported 32. I guess they're having some. Well, again, we talked about this before. It's like a lot of these companies during the pandemic, they went on like a hiring spree or whatever because the money was coming in. They thought the good times would always keep coming, So yeah, here's what they're saying. This isn't about reducing headcount to save money. We're not slowing down work on the game you love. We're investing heavily in solving today's challenges faster. What fucking bullshit speak, man. Corporate bullshit. I didn't even finish the rest of that statement. It's dumb. So there's that. And then the other one I have listed here is DontNod. They've also let some people go. 69 people to be exact. Nice, right? That fucking number. That's been a lot of layoffs this year, man. Again, earlier this year, some gaming analyst said that it's going to be a bloodbath in 2024. My man has been right so far, How many jobs have we lost? It's like fucking tens of thousands. Man,
I think we might be seeing a second collapse of the game industry.
Brett, I've been saying this. I'm saying we've been, because people are like, is there going to be another game crash? Like, it's been happening.
Yeah, I think people's worst fears and then some. Like, this shit's full on collapsing. Like, everything about it. Like, fucking game journalism was the first one to kind of buckle, and then AAA, then / quadruple A, or they're just falling. Like, man, this is gonna get absolutely bloody.
Yeah, it's already bloody. It's probably going to get bloodier, Crazy shit, man. So, yeah, there's your latest round of layoffs. There will probably be more. All right, moving on here. This is kind of related to, one of the problems with the industry is obviously a lot of games cost a shit ton of money. They take forever. Guess who was talking about this again? But now people are actually listening to him. Shawn Layden, people. He was at Gamescom Asia. I didn't know that was a thing. So he was speaking, and he said AA is gone, and that's a threat to the ecosystem going forward. It's already a threat, bro.
Yeah.
It's already a threat. So, this is kind of interesting. So the show is taking place in Singapore. So in a conversation with Raw Fury co-founder and chief publishing officer Gordon Van Dyke, Shawn Layden gave his thoughts on the disappearance of AA studios and why that's a bad thing for the industry going forward. So this is what Layden had to say. In the past, we spent a lot more time looking at games and not asking, what's your monetization scheme, or what's your recurrent value plan, or what's your subscription formula? We asked a simple question. Is it fun? Are we having a good time? If you said yes to those questions, you'd actually get a green light. You didn't worry so much about the end piece, for better or worse. Of course, back then, you didn't make a game for millions of dollars. Your risk tolerance was so your risk tolerance was fairly high. Today, the entry cost for making a AAA game is in triple-digit millions now. I think naturally risk tolerance drops, and you're looking at sequels. You're looking at copycats because the finance guys who draw the line say, well, if Fortnite made this money in this amount of time, my Fortnite knockoff can make that in this amount of time. We're seeing a collapse.
Ooh, shots fired.
Yeah.
that's a shot over the bow at PlayStation itself.
Yeah, it's true. He goes, we're seeing a collapse of creativity in games today with studios consolidating and a high cost of production. My man, he's right. You know,
says right there, man. What were the studios that PlayStation had underneath them? You know, they had places like Media Molecule. You know, what are those guys? The Japan studio. They had a bunch of little studios that made smaller type games that weren't doing gangbusters, but they were good experiences to fit within the spaces that are between the giant super games, right?
Yeah.
Now what do you got? Then that's why we're having this deficit of essentially, first party titles between Xbox and PlayStation.
Yeah. Hold on. I want to read more of this. My man's laying down some gold, So the guy who was interviewing him asked him about indie games, if they're a beacon of hope. And this is what Layden said about that. He goes, I think you're right. We've seen the same phenomenon in the film industry, right? We've come across to a place where everything is a blockbuster, Marvel Cinematic Universe, or it's Sundance award contender. And then in the center, the middle piece, which used to be Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep in Vermont, you can make that movie. People went to the theaters to see it, but those movies and that kind of content found a place to go. It went to Netflix, went to Amazon, went to Apple Plus, all the different streaming services. It had places to go. In the gaming business, you have Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, indie stuff, but then that middle piece, that middle layer that used to be where Interplay, Gremlin, Ocean, THQ, all those companies made their money. That middle piece is gone. If you can become AAA, you can survive. Or if you do something interesting in the indie space, you could. But AA is gone. I think that's a threat to the ecosystem, if you will. So I'm looking at indie stuff with the advent of technologies like the latest Unreal Engine or what Unity can give you. I think we can all say that the standard quality of video games is pretty high right now compared to 10 years ago. Again, that's something we've talked about forever. The kind of parallel with the movies and games. It's like the middle stuff kind of gone. But he's right. At least with movies, that middle stuff has a place to go. Streaming services. With games, not so much. The AA stuff. Go ahead, Manny. Look like you were about to say something.
Yeah, it's like that company A24 or whatever they're called, which sort of specializes in smaller films, and they're like the bee's knees right now as far as smaller horror films, interesting side films, all these really cool things that are sort of just uplift the industry, but you don't see anything like that for the game industry, at least as far as non-indie titles,
Yeah. No, this thing goes on, but it seems like a really good interview here. My man was saying out some truth, and now people actually listen. Remember, when he first said this shit, 7 years ago, they were like, oh, he's crazy. What the fuck is wrong with him?
Yep.
And now, that we're basically seeing the gaming industry collapsing around us, now they're listening, Interesting stuff.
Well, whoever the people that took control, all they could see was spending a lot of money on these titles. When it's important to have smaller titles within there, right? You never know when and again with one of those smaller titles, you didn't spend a shitload of money on it, and if it hits big, then you can bump the budget up for the next one, and then so on and so forth. I know there was a lot of money put into a pretty decent amount of money put into Uncharted, but I don't think it was the original Uncharted, but I don't think it was so much to where it didn't make sense to make.
Yeah.
They weren't throwing billions of dollars at that game, and I feel like that's where Horizon Zero Dawn sort of messed up. Messed up, but I feel like they spent a shitload of money on that game, and that set the precedence for everything that was going to come after.
Yeah, and every other, again, it's not just Sony. It's like every other studio is doing that too. You know.
Exactly. So yeah, now you see that they're doing the opposite of what it even comes to, like one of those multiplayer type games, right? Where they're like, you're not supposed to spend a shitload of money on it. It's it's pure gameplay, right? But then you hear stuff like Concord, where they spent so much damn money on this title, and what came out was a mediocre shooter. You know,
even below mediocre. You know,
below mediocre shooter that just came out of that. And they spent all that money on it.
Yeah, I don't know. Something has to give. You know, something has to give. We'll see what happens. All right, and again, we talked about this before too. One of the other problems, like, you know, a lot of gamers, they just want games with like checks every single box. You know. Oh, it needs to be 600 hours. It needs to do this. It needs to do that. You know.
If you look at, like, you know, not to use Silent Hill because that's a remake, but if you look at the game like Silent Hill, right? That game, in general, was a middle-A title when it came out from Konami. A very simple idea where just, you know, and there's not. I mean, granted, this is a big town and all that stuff, but for the most part, it's a very small game because it only really has maybe, I don't know, 7 or 6 characters in it. You know, so it's a very sort of condensed idea, and I feel like that's sort of missing in the realm of games. And again, people feel like just because it's a game that came out, it needs to have a open world. It needs to have every single thing, every single thing that every other game had ever done.
Yeah, every other game. Yeah,
you know, and which, you know, you can have a game that has a simple premise, right? Brett loved that game. What was it? The not Sifu. What was the other one? The other fighting game.
Oh, not Avowed.
Absolver?
Absolver, yeah.
Absolver, right? You love that game. And what did it did that one thing, but it did that one thing really well. And there's not a lot of games that do that now. Everybody's all like, "Hey, I'm gonna make this giant world. You can do everything in it, you know. Pick up every single item in it." Not every game needs to be, you know, it needs to be Oblivion, right? Or an Elder Scrolls title. You know, you don't need to be able to pick up everything. You can be a little bit smaller about that. Just leave the picking up everything and leveling up and having a bunch of that stuff for the bigger games, for the games that are like longer RPGs. But not every game needs to be RPG.
That's something I've been saying for years. Like, why does every game have to be an RPG? Even Call of Duty is an RPG. Like, why? You know, you don't need all this fucking progression, skill trees, all this other shit. Just have dudes with guns. That's all you need. You know.
Because people like Adam keep playing it.
Yeah.
It's
the butter game.
It's the butter game. Nah, but yeah, you know, I agree with you guys. I've been tuning this horn for feels like decades at this point. There's no real creativity anymore in video games. It's just seek trends because the people making video games are the people with money, and the people with money want a return on investment. But they don't know how to make video games. They only, you know, look to see what works and try to copy that. But most of the time, it's already too late. That fad already passed.
Yeah, like Concord.
Yeah,
you know,
like definitely Concord. Like, I mean, even something like what's that Ubisoft game? Pirate game, Skull and Bones. That game was supposed to come out like 5 years before it came out, and Sea of Thieves already saturated that market before you know that game already released. So yeah, it's we're in a really weird place in video games where I know you guys talked about sort of a video game crash that's going slowly. I just feel like the crash is more of a creative one than it is a money one in the industry.
Yeah, the money part hasn't happened yet, but I agree with you. Definitely a crash in terms of creativity and a crash in terms of like employment. You know, but definitely a creative crash because again, every game's the same now. You know,
every game's the same. They all have woo in the title.
They all woo games. You know,
we're all trying to woo the audience.
Yeah.
All right.
We're gonna make all
Yeah,
these
so
jokes all night, people. Get ready. We ain't stopping.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things where, back then, and we're already the decrepit old person, telling the kids how it used to be, but back in our day,
Back in our
you know,
day.
we used to play video, like, there were some trends, that were followed, in the 16-bit era. There was a lot of the same type of game that came out. But I feel like after the 16-bit, going into other ones like PS1 days and the 3D days, I feel like that's when an explosion of creativity came in terms of just how what constituted a video game. And that ended after the PS3 360 generation ended.
Yeah.
And now it's just more of like a race to the top of the pile of money, instead of creating experiences for folks to enjoy.
Yeah, no, I agree. Again, and this is related too, because again, I've been really back into fighting games and watching a bunch of like retrospectives and stuff. Like, remember when fighting games, like, we would have Marvel vs. Capcom 2, 1 million fucking unlockable characters. You wouldn't have that in a modern game. That would all be locked behind a season pass or something like that. Multiple season passes, I should say. You would not have anything like that. You wouldn't have hidden characters. You don't have that anymore. You have to buy that shit,
Yeah, most of those characters would come out years later through various DLCs and passes and stuff. Yeah, and then we, like, I've mentioned this previously as well. There's a reason why we don't really know many game directors these days. Back in the day, there was like tons and tons and tons of game directors. Like, it's a Kojima, it's a Ken Levine.
Yeah,
it's all these people that we used to know back in the day. And now it's not really, they don't really exist that much.
Yeah, no, you're right. Like Rockstar game developers, Cliff Blazinski,
Where's Cliffy B? Where's
Cliffy B?
You still got your Suda 51s and stuff like that, but they're like a dying breed. Miyazaki.
Yeah. Young Savage, what's going on, brother? He goes, get rid of battle passes. They make too much money off of them, man. That's the problem. All right, man. Moving on here. Speaking about games that cost hundreds of $millions and are going to bomb, gotta talk about Assassin's Creed again, people. So we brought up this thing too about one of their many fuck ups was that some toys were being sold, and in the background they have like a destroyed Torii gate, which is like super offensive because it's like a sign of like when Japan got bombed and shit, the nuclear bomb. So now those toys will not be sold. They're not going to sell those after all, and they apologize. But it's like you wouldn't have had to apologize if you did your research.
Yeah, if you had a competent historian, they would have probably told you no, don't do that. That might be seen as offensive.
Yeah. So yeah, the company is called Pure Arts. Manny, I don't know if you're familiar with them. So I know you're into toys and stuff. You know them. So yeah, they released an apology on Twitter. Saying, we recently released an insensitive design. We appreciate and have learned from the concerns brought to our attention, and we apologize for the harm this caused. Okay, bro.
Pure Arts specializes in very expensive statues. So to be honest, the first thing, that thing should have been reviewed by the Japanese, by the Japanese historian and stuff like that. Obviously, Ubisoft would not be able to tell you, whether something is okay or not, Yeah. But they do, Pure Arts in general does some pretty good stuff. Like they've made, 1/6 scale Assassin's Creed figures are about that big. They do good stuff. I would say that again, like
damn, these things are gonna be $70. Fuck.
I mean, that is what is it? That's that's a kind of price compared to some of their other stuff. They have $1,000 statues, 300
Jesus.
that the Assassin's Creed statue is of Ezio Auditore. He's $2,999. So they make some seriously expensive stuff. But they really should have went over and literally had the historian look over that stuff. Ubisoft, especially knowing how sensitive the subject matter is, they should have really did that.
Yeah, but again, it just goes to show how sloppy their quote unquote research was. Some crazy shit, man. All right, and the last story of the night. This is again one of these things. I'm like, did people not know this already? So now Steam is making it very explicit that you're not buying a game, you're just buying the license. And it's like, yeah.
Well, dude, officially people didn't know that. Like most people
Even
don't
though we've
assume,
been saying that for years on Throwdown.
Well, dude, who are the majority of people that buy games? Yeah. People don't ask these sorts of questions. They accept when it says buy. So everything that you buy, everything that you get right now, that's a digital thing. You don't own it. You are essentially licensing it. The only time you actually really own something is if you buy the game. But even then, that's a little bit questionable with the way digital, the way delivery is these days.
Yeah. And this ties into the previous story we talked about how PlayStation will be kind of forced to do this. I think the EU is kind of forcing the hand. So yeah.
Well, I mean, to be honest, this is something that they should have done a long time ago. Because one of these things, because when you say these sorts of things, you quell any sort of like complaint that comes after when they start pulling things off. You don't own it.
Yeah, you don't.
If anything, the best thing you could do is you got any sort of content that you got like that, you just download it. But even then, like, there's, again, people don't talk about this, but, you buy something on on something on like Apple, like a movie on Apple, the Apple Store. You don't always have that.
Yeah, you
and
don't.
As soon as they pull it off, they expunge it from your fucking your iPad and your iPhone. So it's like it didn't exist. So none of the digital shit that you get is you really own at all.
Yeah. By the way, real quick, shout out to Sketch. He goes, this is why he goes to GOG to buy his games.
Yeah, well, GOG is a DRM free zone. You essentially own the games that you pretty much own the game that you get. And I don't think Brian, have they ever removed anything from GOG and then removed it from your system? They've never done that, right? Because that's the whole point of GOG, right?
They have not, and I wouldn't see how they would be able to, given how GOG works.
Because they don't. Yeah, because they don't have any sort of DRM connected to any of their games, correct?
I can 100% confirm that, because one day some friends of mine at work decided to play Unreal Tournament via LAN. So I bought it on GOG, and I literally downloaded it, copied and pasted it onto a flash drive, and then everyone just copied and pasted that flash drive data to the machine, and then that's how we played.
There you go.
You can literally copy and paste the files over, and it's fine.
Yeah. So, Brian, what do you think about that story, man?
I thought, again, I'm with you guys. I thought people already knew this, but I guess this is just them making it ultra clear that, you're not really buying it. You're buying the license to it. So I guess in that sense, it's fine. It's one of those things where, let's say, when Sony bought Insomniac, we're all like, wait, didn't they already own them? It's like that type of thing. Was like, wait, isn't this already known? Like, yeah. Again, it's very weird. Again, I thought this existed, but at the same time, good making it clear. That makes sense. Hopefully, that it's probably there so that they don't have to deal with lawsuits in the future. That's my guess. You shouldn't have to do that. Again, just buy games on GOG. That's what I do. I literally wait until they come on GOG and buy them there. It's much better.
Yeah. So,
But yeah, it's really shitty situation that this even needs to be explained like that.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, a quick apology. I made a mistake. And I made this mistake last week as well when talking about the story. It wasn't another country that is trying to get this. It's all it was California, which is like another country. But regardless, it's still America. That scumbag Gavin Newsom's trying to sign the law or did sign the law.
But I mean, it's to be honest, I think clarity is always.
I agree.
Good.
Yeah.
I think I think when it comes to like it's like the cookies thing from was it the EU? It was the UK that had the cookies thing, right? On web browsers where you have to approve the cookies, how much they're putting into your computer, because officially it was not known how many tracking cookies that you had in your computer unless you checked it specifically. So I feel like clarity is always a good thing, especially when you have a lot of people that don't ask questions. They just assume when you say buy, it actually means buy. No, you're not buying anything. You're essentially just paying for the time to use it. And at any point in time, and they make this perfectly clear inside of any of their rhetoric, if you ever bother to read any of the garbage that any of those games say, they say stuff like, we at any point can remove this game and, whatever, if it becomes unavailable. Granted, I would say Sony and Microsoft have been pretty good about delisted games, where exception being Concord, but every single game that has been ever pulled off of those things, with the exception of certain titles, you could still re-download those things. You could still re-download a lot of those movies. But again, remember the thing that happened? I think it was with Warner Brothers not long ago, where they were saying they could pull all that stuff off and you can never re-download it again. That's the same situation.
Crazy.
And this is for any digital media, by the way. This is not just for games. This is for films and anything else that you download like that. They make it perfectly clear now. You're not buying this. You're renting it for you've rented it.
Yeah. So on Steam now it says a purchase of a digital product grants a license for the product on Steam. Yeah, you don't own it, By the way, real quick, because this is related, last night when I was on PSN, I had like one of my old school like trophy buddies hit me up out of nowhere, and we were catching up, and he was asking me, I forgot what game it was, but basically he downloaded it, but then he bought the physical disc, and he deleted the digital version. He put the disc in, but it still shows as a digital game because he wants to see the disc, right? And he says to me, he's like, I'm old school. I like playing my games off the disc. Then I have to explain to him, you haven't been able to play a game off of disc since the PS4 era, bro.
Yeah, the disc. All the disc does is just the key to essentially let you run the game that's already installed on your console.
Yeah.
So when your thing goes, that's just it reading that first bit of information on there. But
you're not actually playing the game. So many, to your point, that a lot of people don't know certain things that we think everybody knows, but
exactly
the general masses.
That guy's been playing games for who knows how long. I think I may know who that is.
Probably do. Yeah, he's
but
and he's our age
always
too.
On.
Yeah. But yeah, very interesting. So you're right. Just to your point, it's like not every gamer is as informed.
Yeah, and it just makes it clear. I mean, anybody who's again, you think about the digital space. So many people are buying digital things, games and movies and all kinds of things. What are you buying? Are you buying anything? You aren't buying anything.
Yeah, you're not. You're just buying that license.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, that's what you're doing.
Yep.
It's crazy. All right, man. I start wrapping it up here. Another good show. Rich, what is going on with the coalition, man?
Well, first and foremost, Mr. Adam Vale, Carlos Romero, and myself, will be recording the next episode of the I Am Negan podcast this weekend. So stay tuned for that. And as for, oh yeah, I like that applause. Yes. And as for the coalition, well, there are a lot of reviews dropping next week. There's a lot of things that I have been playing that I really can't talk about quite yet, but I can talk a lot about them next week. So stay tuned to the website. You're going to see a lot of stuff going up throughout the week next week. So stay tuned for that.
Nice. All right, man. Get out of here. So make sure you follow Throwdown on Twitch and Twitter. Subscribe to us on YouTube and join the Discord where the conversations, the rumors are always popping. And of course, you can listen to us on your favorite podcast app. Links to everything down below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Brett Murdoch. He's still muted. All right, there he is. He's coming.
Of course I am. Peace.
Hey, my man, Richard Bailey Jr.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
And Brian Majoma.
Only a couple days left until the Dragon Age.
Oh boy, Richard's favorite game, man. Game of the year coming.
Absolutely.
It's not the Dragon's Age. It's the Dragon Age.
Yeah. It's Dragon Age now. Fail guard is coming, people. All right, man.